And here we go with the technical rundown on the precious metals sector. We don't need to waste a lot of energy on gold. The target after making the new high is 3,000. Based on this cup, this consolidation, then the secondary pattern that formed where we had targeted 2,400, 2,450, which logically saw some congestion and then a breakthrough, and now a breakthrough the previous high from October. Gold has loaded 3,000. It's over bullish. People are excited, maybe not as excited as they're going to be, but it's a 3,000 plus target until further notice of the technicals. Silver. So I had been thinking about a head and shoulders here until this thing came up and negated it. First, getting back above support off this little W here. Taking out the 50-day average, grinding it, holding it, taking out the wedge, testing it, succeeding, going back above the moving averages, taking out this resistance at 31 or so, which was the objective we set for it. And the only way to look at it now is it's a bullish move, a bullish breakout from the wedge. And the target, as long as this remains in play, is 42. I wouldn't worry about falling back below this high because it did come and tick a higher high, and of course it's going to test anybody who jumped on as a breakout player. So back to support at 31 and plus or minus to that, very important. In an extreme case, the moving average convergence is a very important support, but I don't even know if silver is going to test support at 31, let alone drop through it. Let's just keep an eye on it. RSI is stair-stepping its moving average, and on a normal pullback right now, we'll watch to see if it becomes anything more, but the big picture, or the fairly big picture, is silver to 42. The big picture is this head and shoulders breakout neckline, and the even bigger picture is the big cup and handle, we might call it, from the 1980s to a higher high, to the Hunt Brothers high, which was here at 50, and then another cup of sorts. Either way, you could look at silver as having broken the post-2011 high consolidation bear market, forced its trends back upward, and presenting a bullish situation here after taking out this neckline, and most recently, obviously, taking out these moving averages. Let's move on. GDX, leaving some gaps, as bullish markets will do. There's another one right there I didn't put in. Thought I had prepared myself better this week than last week, but that's one I missed. So, bullish. We had to take this out. It has been taken out with authority, and we'll probably see some volatility, some grinding, but the objective is a new high on GDX. So while we're on the gold stocks, let's go to HUI. I want to check that out here. Wedge breakout. This support, so 318 or so. 318 is very important. It can flash below it, but generally it should hold this. A deeper correction, which I'm not expecting, but we should always be aware of the potential for, would come down to 305. But either way, it appears we're on the next move in the bull market. So let me erase the moving averages here, if I can get this thing to do it. Okay, and let's dial it out. There's the corrective channel from the 2020 highs, which were, you know, that was kind of a height of ecstasy there, or excitement. And we noted at the time that it needed a cool down, and boy, did it ever get one. But on the bigger picture, HUI is and has been in a bull market stance since 2016, this low right here, this cluster of lows. And that first shot upward, which was ill-fated because it came amid a really intensifying inflationary backdrop, where silver really zoomed and led gold, and where commodities caught on and stock markets caught on, and the whole cyclical cacophony, the band started playing and the gold bugs were pumping. And by summer of that year, 2016, the thing was ill-fated. Correction. Where are we here? 2019, I can't recall for sure whatever drove that up. Maybe it was even sector fundamentals, who knew? 2.3, culminating in 2020. That we do know what drove it up. It was the inflationary operations of a liquidating market as policymakers rolled over extreme dovish and started cranking the inflation machinery to bail out the world. Central banks saw it as their duty, I guess, as did governments. And then we paid for that all through the subsequent 2, 3, 4 years of inflationary pressure, which once it gets settled in the system is not a friend of the gold mining industry. 2.4, and then we bottomed late in 2022, and we've been on a jagged grinding, what I believe is the next and possibly final leg of the bull market. I'm not saying it has to end here at 500, but that is our target, and I see no reason to get greedy with it. And I'm not entirely sure the big correction I anticipate, when the precious metals likely take a hit with the broad markets, some months, weeks, months, I don't think years down the road, but some months down the road, the vulnerability that this sector has to the broad markets, I don't know if it's going to register 0.5 first or not. I'm guessing not. So that might be a longer term situation. And again, to review, the precious metals, I believe, are vulnerable because they have been card-carrying members and at times brisk leaders of the, what is now a year-old strong broad market rally. But the summary here is 1, 2, 3, 4, and a fifth up. So I don't know if the pressure that the miners get as a result of any stock market bearishness, if applicable, will do much more than just test patience before leg 5 manifests. All right, you're talking too much, Gary, so let's just move on quickly to back to the daily chart views, and let's look at a couple miners. AEM, I hold it. It's bullish. It's at all-time highs. It's getting overbought. Let's move on. KGC, not at all-time highs, but most recently in the same type structure. It's a stock that is catching up. I believe the company has really worked on its internal operations and is turning some things around. So here you see, if this support is approached, it's probably a buying opportunity. I'm holding it. Royal Gold, I had noted I didn't hold it, and it was mushing around here below the 50-day moving average. I think I added it, I'm not sure if I added it just below or just above, but I added it in this cluster here, and then it did the right thing. So back above support, and I believe Royal Gold is looking for new highs eventually. What do we have next here? Let's look at KNT NF. K92 Mining, he of the Papua New Guinea mining operations, and solid execution of their company operations. And it's sitting here above both uptrending moving averages, looking bullish in a constructive looking pattern, good up volume relative to down volume. First target is 750, and second target is way up there at 9. That might be at the ultimate bull market timing point. I'm not sure about that, obviously. But steady as she goes, I'm holding K92. New Gold was bought back, I believe, after it broke out, and I'm not sure if it did it here and then tested me with a break back down, or if I took it here or wherever. Either way, it's in breakout mode from this top trend line. I don't overly value trend lines, but it's better to have it happening than not. And you know, if this resolves bullish, we're looking at new highs in New Gold. And this too is another turnaround case. It has already taken out the previous highs, which doesn't mean all-time highs. Far from it. Let's take a look. Yeah, very far from it. But I'm holding this one, and happy to do so at this time anyway. Rio 2 did exactly what we said we wanted it to do. I had noted a buy around the grinding test of the 200-day average, and then I had noted that it was pleasant that it was grinding and lagging because I added a second position, then it did that. I'm holding. Newmont, yeah, I'm holding it. It's an old dinosaur, a huge gold miner, and it had to bottom somewhere, and it's the type stock that a lot of well-heeled, well-moneyed interests will dive into when this sector starts getting more notoriety. Gap, meanwhile, Gap, I'm not worried about these at this time. This could easily fill on any short-term turbulence for the sector. And finally, I neglected to put OGN in here, Origin Royalties, a young royalty that subscriber Rich originally pounded the table for me on a few years ago. It's been a really nice stock, even with that hard correction. No problem, just holding it, remaining shares. I have taken some profit along the way. But I am also considering whether or not to do some adding here at or above the moving averages. But I feel no urgency. I believe it might be my largest gold stock position in the IRA. So no big deal. I'll probably just hold it. Not sure what's going on with RSI, that little curl down, and MACD is still triggered down. So those are minor cautions, but this all in all is a bullish chart riding its uptrending moving averages. And that'll wrap her up for the TA on the precious metals sector. And now we'll get back to some written content. Talk to you later.